Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode. I'm Matt.
I'm Mandy.
And this is another episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us again as we dip back into the movies that shaped our childhood. And today, Mandy, what are we talking about?
Today we are talking about the year 2000, which is a little later than we usually do, but Coen Brothers, I think classic is what I would call this one.
Sure.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah. Year 2000.
I don't know what I would classify this, like comedy, musical, like
Yeah, it's got some layers to it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely like an art to it, like how it's filmed and how everything's kind of put together.
So this would have clocked us in at like 17 years old when we would have seen this movie. I feel like this one I did see in the theater, which is not been a bunch of these, but yeah, this one for me I did see in the theater. So
same.
But of course, when we talk about these movies, we want to make sure that everyone else is on board. If you've somehow made it through life and not found a reason to watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, please take it upon yourselves to go find the film. You're probably going to have to rent it. I didn't find it streaming anywhere. Or just buy it. It's worth the buy. And then watch it so you can know what the hell we're talking about when we talk about this movie. Come back and join us for the conversation. And you're back. All right. It's the greatest of all time. Thanks for taking that moment to go watch a 2-hour-long movie for no reason. So, and of course, Mandy, you and I, we don't like to talk about these movies alone. So we bring on someone else to join the party. And today, we're very excited. We have returning guest. Were you on just one episode, Will?
Correct.
Yeah, it was the City Slickers, right?
City Slickers, yes.
So fun. Very fun. All right, we have returning guest, Lansing area comedian / teacher / food truck aficionado, I guess. I don't know. Will Green is with us again, returning. Hey, Will.
All those things. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Do you have any more you want to add to the list?
Porn star.
Oh, I should start asking people. Let's just have you do your
I don't tell people about the porn star thing.
Sure.
Pet owner.
Okay. Yeah. That's nice.
Dog
It was
walker.
just your birthday. So
Pet
birthday
owner,
boy.
dog walker.
Just my birthday, yes.
There you
yes.
go.
You're the birthday boy. Happy birthday.
Thank you. 3-7.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
nothing like having a birthday during a quarantine.
Yeah, what'd you do to celebrate?
Like it.
Did you go into a different room of your house?
Yeah, no, I went 10 feet farther down the block.
Hey, look at that.
No, we actually I went to my parents and then we sat, just 10
Arm's
feet
length.
apart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, they set up tables outside and then we ate, 6 feet apart. And then played some croquet. So we because golf is allowed, so we figured croquet would be.
I don't know about that.
too.
You got to check those rules. Let me jump on the line with the old Whitmer here, and we'll find
Check
out.
the governor. Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Look at that. That is, I mean, as tame as that sounds, it's probably amazing just to even get out and do anything, really.
It was weird driving.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't been I'd driven a little bit, like to and from the store, but I hadn't been on the highway in over a month.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Like there was a building down the road that was like I didn't even know they started construction on it, and it was like it's a FedEx like distribution center, so it's fucking huge. And I was just like, it took like no time at all, and I was driving down the road, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that is humongous. I felt very like I missed, like I blacked out. I missed time.
Yeah, the world kept going without you, but
yeah, it did.
All right. Speaking of time moving around, I don't know. That was my weird segue of talking about this period piece. This is like an old timey movie, guys. It's all sepia toned and fancy,
Mm-hmm.
Right? Will, how long had it been? We always ask everybody that we have on, how long it had been since you watched the movie before we made you watch it for the podcast?
I'm honestly not certain. This is a movie that I've really only seen, it's it would be on TBS, and I'd watch it from wherever it started.
Sure.
But a bunch of times, but never sat down, pressed play, and watched to the end. Just always enjoyed it in those snippets whenever.
Yeah.
So
it is a
it's been a while. I would say it's been a while. Definitely 10 years.
Okay. Yeah, start
Maybe.
to finish 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 7 to 10 years, somewhere in that range.
Sure. Mandy, how about you?
It hasn't been that long. I would say maybe 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And I watched it in the theater, and the day I saw it in the theater, I bought the soundtrack.
Yeah, I think everyone everyone owned the soundtrack at some point, or someone's mom did. Everyone's mom owned the soundtrack.
I felt very I mean, we were 17, right? So
Yeah.
I felt like I was like a college student or something. Like I was just like so in tune with like the folk music,
Yeah.
you know, and I was like really into the environment back then too. So this was like perfect for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
This movie, it's been, I don't know, it's been probably 10 years or so since I've seen it. I was convinced I had it on DVD, but did not. I can't find it anywhere. I know
same.
I had it on VHS, and I also had the soundtrack. Yeah, for no other reason than just "Man of Constant Sorrow," I think was the thing. It became like a radio banger, like for like how does that work, man?
Mhm.
But I feel like this is the first movie I've watched where I realized that there was like layers to a movie. I think I finally got to like 17 and I was like, wait a minute, like the movie itself is kind of a character, you know, like there's something deep going on here that I don't really understand, but I kind of feel like I want to, you know. Made me feel fancy.
Did you guys like it as much this time watching it as you did when you watched it before?
Oh, for sure. I for sure did. Yeah. How about you, Will?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I would say I probably appreciated it the most I ever have at this point
Well, good.
Okay.
of my life. To be honest with you.
I did not.
Oh no. All right.
I know I wasn't like disappointed. I think that's too strong of a word. But I just remember loving this movie so much that when I watched it, I'm like, okay, this is weird. It's a little slower than I remembered. The music scenes weren't as long as I remembered. So like that was weird for me. And I did not like George Clooney's character at all.
Okay.
I wished, like, I just felt like he was such a D-bag, which was super disappointing because I remember thinking that like he was great. So yeah, I mean, I would watch it again for sure, but I didn't like it as much. Everett, that was his name. Yeah.
Ulysses Everett McGill. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess let's just kick this off with a bit of I guess the soundtrack. I mean, that's what everybody, you know, seems to come back to on this movie. So here we go.
This is a real recording of Prisoners.
Oh, that was back then. Yeah. I skipped past that.
The Poe Lazarus.
Yeah.
Went down and the jungle fire was burning.
I love this.
Down the track came
Great way to kick off the movie. They just escaped. They're like popping up through a field trying to get away. Love it.
So come with me, we'll go.
All right, fine. That's enough. It brings us back in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Poe Lazarus recording was a recording of the real
Like
prisoners.
Chain Gang. Yeah.
Yes, and the Coen brothers actually found one remaining prisoner that was on the Chain Gang, and they gave him $20,000 for using the song.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Go
So I know, right? I
So
mean,
I should also mention to everyone listening, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening for the first time, if you're looking for like an in-depth discussion of like the clever nuances of these films that we discuss, you're in the wrong spot. Basically, we're just you know, a couple comedians who find a comedian friend who discuss what this movie did to them, like whether watching it again made you sad or it was a good run through.
Especially if you're a Coen brothers fan, because I'm not really. I like Fargo, but their stuff is just too fucking weird for me. Like,
How about you, Will?
I'm like, what did I watch just now?
Are you a Coen brothers fan, would you say?
Yeah, there's very few that I don't care for. There's some of their older ones I haven't seen, but it's just like I you know, they're just those directors where like you kind of know what you're getting into and you just go see what they did.
For sure,
you know?
yeah.
Right. I always enjoy that.
Yeah, I thought you were raising your hand.
Oh, excuse me. No, I was scratching underneath my.
Yeah.
I did wash my hair today, but for some reason, yeah, I'm having an issue.
There you go. Yeah, I don't. I always say I'm not one of those people who like finds a director they love and just tears through their catalog. It's not that way for me. I don't care if a movie is good, it's good, and I like it, and I don't necessarily need to find out who, where, and why. It just, you know, at that moment in time, it seemed to strike something with me, and I really enjoyed it.
I feel like there are some directors that you like watch it for a second and you're like, oh, I know who directed this. Obviously, like Tim Burton, Quentin Tarantino, you know, like the really super obvious ones.
Yeah, for sure.
And this movie, I don't think that I would automatically be like, oh, this is a Coen Brothers movie, which is probably why I like it.
Once you see half of the cast, I think you will. Like, I think these
are
the usual suspects here keep showing up in their films. But
yeah.
Okay. So we talk about. So this is basically a film set in the Great Depression era, but it's based around Homer's The Odyssey.
Yes.
Right?
Well, it started out with they thought it was going to be more like Wizard of Oz, you know, like three traveling people, and then they meet up with a fourth person. Obviously, it's Tommy, and but then they were like, oh, wait a minute, this is more like the Odyssey. And actually, neither one of the Coen brothers have ever read the Odyssey.
I heard that. Yeah. They still to this day claim to have not have read it. Yeah.
I have never read the Odyssey, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I sound smarter than I actually am.
I was supposed to read it, I think, in multiple classes, but I definitely have not done it in its entirety. I know honestly, I think, and this is true of a lot of literature, most of my knowledge comes from like Wishbone episodes.
There you go.
Yes!
Most of my knowledge of great literature is just fragments from.
Little shout out to Mrs. Collier. She used to make us watch Wishbone.
That's fun to hear a teacher say that, though. Like you get the brunt of your literary knowledge comes from a tiny dog. So that's exciting.
What's the story? Wishbone.
I used to crush it on Quiz Bowl because of that show.
Hell yeah.
That is so awesome. And now they have similar shows for kids like Super Y and Young Einsteins or Little Einsteins. Not Young Einstein. That's a whole different thing. But
if it doesn't star a friendly dog, I'm out.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't need any more of this in my life. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I guess we'll just play another clip here. This is we kind of meet the gang here at this point. This is when they're trying to jump the train and carry on.
Oh my God, this is one of the best parts.
Can I count on you people? Sorry, Everett.
They've already fallen off.
Oh yeah, the falling off is what I was talking about.
Who elected you leader of this outfit? Well, Pete, I figured it should be the one with the capacity for abstract thought. But if that ain't the consensus view, then hell, let's put her to a vote.
Suits me. I'm voting for yours truly.
Well, I'm voting for yours truly, too.
Okay. I'm with you, fellas.
Love it. It's the greatest.
So great.
Super dialogue driven. Love it. Well written, and it sounds like people actually talking, which can really throw me out of a movie. If dialogue just seems like it was good on paper and doesn't quite translate.
Yeah, it's razor sharp, but also still sounds very, very realistic. And
it's very Southern men doing Gilmore Girls, in my opinion. That's why you like it. There's just like giant words.
It sounds like me when I do a Southern accent. They're nailing it.
I like. I don't know. I like that there's more to it. And I, as a 17-year-old child, was like, I understand more of this movie than like I think I'm supposed to, and it made me feel smart. I think that's what drew me to this movie more so than
you are smart
at the time. I know, but it's just you feel like you've got one over on the rest of the people. You know what I mean? Like you at that age when I thought I was the smartest person alive, I get this way more than everyone else gets this.
Like I got the soundtrack, which made me more spiritually like in tune. I was
spiritually in tune. I also enjoyed the fact that the main character was clearly atheist or whatever, you know, like, and he stood proud on that. And I was like, hell yeah. Like we don't need a main character, like devout Christian doing everything good for the word of God. You know what I mean? Like it made him.
He was such a fucking know-it-all though. I hate people that talk.
He did know it all, though. Like, I mean, if you look at who he's dealing with.
Comparatively, right? Yeah, he was definitely the leader out of those three. I mean, I know.
Well, no, I was going to say, Pete voted for himself, so.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So we do get a few pretty key parallels to the Odyssey as we go throughout there. And the first one that shows up that's real, like, hardcore was the blind prophet that shows up at the train tracks. And we get this, and I could just hear this guy read like a phone book, and it'd be pretty great.
You work for the railroad, Grandpa?
I work for no man.
He's just got that voice that makes me want to know what the hell he's talking about.
No name.
Well, that right there may be the reason you've had difficulty finding gainful employment.
He's like Superman explaining everything.
Commerce.
You seek a great fortune. You who are now in chains. you will find a fortune. Though it will not be the fortune you seek. But first you must travel a long and difficult road.
I like it as a use for exposition. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
It really sets up the story and lets us know what's going on. It's like the Greek chorus thing kind of feeds throughout, lets us know what's about to happen, what we should be expecting. You know, I like it.
One thing we should talk about is, Will, the reason we picked this movie for you is because you are the biggest country music fan that we know.
I know, which is funny because I was the reason that it struck a chord with me so much now is because, especially when it came out, was probably at the peak of my I could care less about country period.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is funny too, because I picked this. I was like, what's a movie from like the 80s, 90s that's like pretty hardcore country music? And they were all just super sad or sappy movies, you know?
Yeah, Hope Floats was one I thought of, but I was like, no, that movie I bawl all over that movie. It's not even funny. Although
even like shit movies like Urban Cowboy or like come on.
What's the one with George Strait?
Pure Country?
Pure Country, yeah.
Yes.
That would have been I mean, that's like almost a what's that? Not riff tracks. What are they called?
Country music porn.
Well, it is country porn, but it's not. I mean, that's a movie that should be made to make fun of.
Yeah. For sure.
Mystery Science Theater. That's what I was trying to think of. That's a movie where you need to put those little characters and have them shit on it. It's just so absurd.
Yeah, we could have done. Isn't Lonesome Dove like 10 hours long or something? Like the one.
True.
Yeah, it's like a mini series for sure. Yeah. Well,
we should have made you do that one. It is quarantine, although you are probably still working.
All right. So what about characters and such? Anybody have a standout character at all that they enjoyed?
Delmar was by far my favorite. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, go.
Delmar, who is the one that's like, oh, I'm with you fellas. Like
the slower of the.
Yes. Tim Blake Nelson is who played him. Yeah. And he really sang the Jailhouse song that he sings up on stage. In the Jailhouse Now, yes. Yeah. And I was just, when he started singing, my husband was like, oh, that's definitely him. And
he's in the jailhouse now.
There he goes.
Well, I told him twice to stop playing cards and shooting dice. He's in the jailhouse now.
Love it.
But I also, yes. But I also loved just how like innocent and pure and sweet he was.
Especially after he thought that he was saved, he became like a new man, and he's like, "I'm just pure and good, and that's all it takes, man.
We aren't going back to jail. The Reverend just told me.
We've been absolved." Yeah.
The girl that was like his siren or whatever, the one that was singing to him, she said that like he was blushing like hardcore the whole time she was like, sirening him or whatever you would call it. And she was like, it was adorable, but she's like, I was embarrassed for him. And that's why when they show her, she's kind of the chunkier one. I think she's the prettiest one.
Right. Yep.
I was
going to ask you guys, who was your siren if you had to pick between the three?
The fat one for sure was mine.
I'd have to look at him again. I was so focused on George Clooney. I didn't
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Your favorite siren was George Clooney. When he sang Man of Sorrow.
He's a siren for everyone. That is a damn fine good-looking man. Which, honestly, even if he wasn't good-looking, put next to those other two, he would have been like so much better looking because they were ugh-oh.
Yeah,
all right, I'm sorry.
Weird-looking actors. They're like, all right, we need George Clooney and two weird motherfuckers. Who are we gonna get? Here we go.
Well, with the Coen brothers, it was like, we have the two weird motherfuckers. Now we just need someone to offset.
Right. That's true.
And they asked Clooney, and Clooney was just on board. He was like, hell yeah, I'll just do it.
That's great.
And they had no one else in mind. They definitely wanted him.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
Well, I'm sorry. I totally took over. What is your favorite character?
On the siren note real quick before we slip back in there.
For sure.
It's funny to think about like if you were those three female actresses and you knew like, all right, we get to be sirens, and then like they're like passing out the assignments. And like one of you is going to get to make out with George Clooney probably a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And the other two have to, suck on Tim Blake Nelson's face. So, think Everett's great. I think I just enjoyed him so much. Just
Clooney fan.
Every hair jelly joke just landed so hard with me.
It's a dapper damn man.
He just, for me, it was like he's kind of slimy.
Yeah.
He's an ex-con, for God's sakes. Or he's a current con, actually.
Yeah.
He broke out.
Yeah.
He's a current con. He's shady, but he's just so, he smiled. Every sentence he says has got a smile at the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, I could not root for him. And just, yeah, I'm all about Everett.
The whole family, or like the whole movie is built around this lie that he's told everyone. So
yes.
We find out later. At first, we're like, okay, we can get behind this, like, buddy travel movie, I guess. It's like a cross country adventure.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Road trip movie,
it's all a clever ruse because the ex-wife's getting remarried. But
oh my god, and she sucks so bad. Like, I love Holly Hunter. I love her so much. Okay. Oh, I love her.
Like, for me, this is just peak Holly Hunter. I'm not a huge Holly Hunter fan, and I was just like, get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, like, I loved her in the 90s. I love listening to Incredibles just because her voice is it's not a cartoon person's voice because she has like some speech impediments, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I love her. And in this movie, like, he does so much shit for her, and she's just like, I counted to 3, and I'm just like, oh, that was the other thing that pissed me off.
I counted to 3.
Yes. I'm like, oh, this is like not even a good ending.
Oh no.
So
I did want to. We talked about the sirens. We might as well just listen to them for a second here.
Yes,
if anybody's driving, I recommend you just pull over. Okay.
You going to introduce us, Pete?
We used to sing this to Kate when she was a baby.
I see
them first.
You're a sweet little thing. Honey in the rock and the sugar don't stop. Gonna bring a bottle to
I watched an interview of the people who were singing this part, which was not the people in the movie that were singing this part.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Don't you eat.
And then also the guy from Alison Krauss and the band.
Yeah, Dan Tyminski
was the guy who sang
yes.
Man of Constant Sorrow.
Yes.
And when they went to go to record it, they brought him into the studio and they had him use like all period stuff. Like they wanted period sounding instruments. The microphones had to be all from that era. And then he played, they had a version of the song that was played and they didn't like it. They just didn't catch them or whatever. So they had him go back in and play it. He's like, let me try something and I'll go in and play it. And he like down-tuned the guitar and made it sound a little more swampy and just kind of a little rougher, and they're like, yes, absolutely that. Now, can you play and sing at the same time? And he was like, well, yeah, I mean, that's his job. Like, he was a musician. Like, that's just all he, so yeah, he went back in and recut it. And and so that was the movie.
They feature him in the movie. He's he's the mandolin player in the back band.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I knew this. Like, I got to watch it 1.5 times.
Yeah.
Which, it's so crazy that I'm in quarantine. I'm having a harder time finding time to watch fucking movies.
Right. Yeah.
It's killing me right now. Yeah, and you can see him, and I'm like, oh, there he is. He's very clean cut, and not soggy bottom.
Yeah, for sure.
No, his bottom is not soggy.
No. And also I wanted to mention too the Gravediggers that sang like the gospel-y stuff. Loved that so much. They are a real gospel group. They've been together for 90 years.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, how are they? So, what are they, like 115?
They started when they were 5.
Yeah.
They must have.
They must have in a room. Sing.
They must have all been in like a kids' church choir or something.
Maybe they're siblings or something. That doesn't make any fucking sense. But yeah,
I don't know. Well, it makes
like a roving, like one of those groups where like Well, but then you need at least one that's 90.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't count. I don't know.
Well, they were pretty old back in 2000.
Well, okay, for one thing, I was like, where do they find these people? Like, they don't have any teeth. Like, who auditions for, like, the old black man with no teeth? Like, like, I just decided at age 95 that I wanted to be in a movie. I don't know. I was just very, like, how did this even get casted?
The whole fucking movie was like a folk music festival anyway. It was like the who's who of that type of music was in this movie. So
yes. The group's name is the Fairfield 4, and there's only 3 of them, but 4 is, like, their name to refer to the number of vocal parts that like tenor or alto, tenor, bass, and it says etc. Whatever. I guess there's 4.
Yeah.
So
Soprano.
I thought that was pretty great, actually.
Yeah, that's fun. All right, let's do. Really big fan of Hogwallop, the cousin there.
Oh, wait, Matt,
Wash.
what was your favorite character?
I don't know. I thought Big Dan was fun.
Yes.
But I really did enjoy the cousin, mostly for the RUNNOFT.
RUN.
Like that whole table conversation.
Or even his son, the kid, did a great job.
Yeah. Are you from the bank? Daddy said I'm to shoot who's ever from the bank. I love it.
The man came from the census and I nicked him or whatever he says.
There's a good boy.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, Mr. Hogwallop. My name is Ulysses Everett McGill, and
I'm Delmar O'Donnell.
How you been, Walsh? Been what, 12, 13 years?
Yep. I expect you want them chains knocked off.
I foreclosed on Cousin Bester. He hanged himself the year come May.
Uncle Rad live?
The anthrax took most of his cows. The rest don't milk. He lost a boy to mumps.
Where's Coral?
Sounds like the year 2020.
Yeah, right.
Hogwallop up in RUNNOFT.
But she couldn't go anywhere.
Must have been looking for
She's just up in the loft in the barn.
Possibly.
She's in quarantine.
Good riddance.
That's what would happen if it was now.
Good cooking, though.
This stew's awful good.
I think so. I slaughtered this horse last Tuesday. I'm afraid she's starting to turn.
Yeah. Not only is it horse, but it's turned horse.
Yeah, that guy is great.
Yeah.
He really is a great character.
And he takes he takes the turn on them and calls the cops, turns them in for the ransom or whatever, I guess, for whatever money. And
Yes.
I love it. Like, that's exactly what you would do.
That is what you would do. I know for 100%. That's what you would do.
Seen him in 13 years. Who cares, man?
I got some cousins I would turn in if I had seen him in 13 years.
But we're kin.
Yeah.
Speaking of the horse turning, so we have this like saying in the house, and we joke around all the time that nothing goes to waste during quarantine.
Okay.
And we make sure that we could eat leftovers and we don't waste anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the other day, it's hard to remember what day it is for the most part.
For sure.
I ate some fajitas. Like, I made fajitas for
Brag.
lunch. Yeah, well, the fajitas were super old. Like, I did not realize until like they hit my stomach.
Yeah.
And I was just like burping. My stomach was so loud. You could hear it across the house. And I'm like, this is fucking horrible. My husband was like, when did we have fajitas? I'm like, I don't know, like a couple weeks ago. And he's like, no, it was longer ago than that. I'm like, time is not real in this quarantine. I don't know. So I survived.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're going to die for completely unrelated reasons, and then you're just going to mark it up as a quarantine
They
death.
are, yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Conspiracy. It is.
That's
by
what
the
they're
way.
doing at the hospitals. They're
I don't
doing
know
that.
if you've seen. I've seen so many hospitals with empty parking lots.
Empty. They're empty.
They're laying
They
off.
write down. Anybody
nurses.
dies, they write down.
Ridiculous.
This is so
That's
awesome.
If I took off my background here, it would just be a wall of AR-15s behind me. Awful. I'm the worst.
Oh my gosh.
I took down my Gadsden flag. It was hanging here. But you guys said.
Oh my gosh, that
You
is
didn't want
so
to approach
awesome.
it. You let us talk about it, and then you'll bring it in, right?
So
Right.
where we are right now in the town that we're in, that I live in, they usually this time of year talk about slavery, and they send home an assignment where the kids are supposed. Yeah, the school.
Who are these they you're talking about? Like,
Yeah, the
I'm
mayor,
sorry.
like, slavery, you gotta come on down to the coffee shop.
Sorry, I should have. I didn't. I obviously my brain's going faster than my mouth. So, yes, the school sends home an assignment.
Generally, most of the time of the year where I live, they talk about slavery.
Well,
It
sure,
really doesn't
yeah.
matter. But anyhow, okay, continue.
So the assignment was to like figure out the value of a human life.
Yikes.
And I live in like Snootsville, like conspiracy theory, like they're rich yuppie conservatives. They're not like hillbilly conservatives. So you know, like
And they let you in?
No, yeah, barely.
Barely.
I'm pretty sure that they're like, how did she get in here?
Right,
So
yeah.
anyway, the school had to send out like an apology email. And like this obviously did not like translate to what we were trying to say, because you know that they're like, those are fucking liberal school trying to put value on human life during they're trying to say that we need to stay home. I don't know. It was just so crazy.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to
for the
continue.
death panels that are there.
Yeah.
It's
They're like,
$700.
Well, I think that we should sacrifice the old for our economy,
For
you
sure,
know?
How much are they worth anyway, you know?
Well, that's what the kids, like, how much is human life worth to you? And the parents are like, well, shit. I mean, now I have to show my kid what a fucking asshole I am.
Right,
Anyways, sorry, that's a little off subject.
Now we have the murder hornets coming, so it's
Yes.
Yeah.
we're all done anyway. So that's it was a good run, you know. We almost made it to 100 episodes, so that's exciting. Let's do. Oh, here you were talking about him with all of his pomade hair treatment.
Yes.
Jokes. Here's a little bit of his exchange with the man behind the counter for his pomade.
I don't want pop, goddammit. I'm a Dapper Dan man.
Watch your language, young fella. This is a public market. Now, if you want Dapper Dan, I can order it for you. Have it in a couple of weeks.
Well, ain't this place a geographical oddity? 2 weeks from everywhere.
2 weeks from everywhere.
A dozen hairnets.
Love it. I just feel like they go into a town and they just find the people who live in that town and they use them in their movies. Like, there's no way Batman auditioned as that character.
I think they have a huge binder called like people to be behind a counter.
Yeah, just regular
and
people.
They just collect people, just pictures of people, and then they go through it and find people to work behind a counter in all their movies.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
That's
it's
like
in Tommy Boy when he's like 4 miles away.
I love that.
Get yourself a new map. So George Clooney, upon reading the script, he didn't know what his character was supposed to sound like, so he sent it to his Uncle Jack, who lives in Kentucky. He is a tobacco farmer. And he had him read the script into a tape recorder, but Jack was like Baptist, so he refused to like put any of the cuss words in there. So when George Clooney like went on set, he's like, "Oh, this isn't how I read it."
Weird.
But so I feel like he's emulating his tobacco farmer Uncle Jack from Kentucky.
Okay. Good call, I guess.
I love the line right after that when he comes out and he says something like, you know, you wouldn't think this is a one-horse town, but try finding some good hair jelly.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well,
that is
didn't look
perfect.
like a one-horse town, but try finding a decent hair jelly. Go for Everett.
Go for Everett.
Fishing belt for 2 weeks neither.
They damned that river on the 21st. Today's the 17th.
Don't I?
So this is where I put down like just casual exposition over Gopher, which is fun. Like they try to explain the stakes of the movie right now, where they've got their time limit, why it's timed, and how, you know, why they need to get there, which I thought was great. It's another. He's just like verifying it with him. He's like, you understand that we only have this amount of time, but we as the audience are now like, okay, we get it. Now this is how much time we have.
Hey.
We got but 4 days to get to that treasure. After that, it'll be at the bottom of the lake. You ain't gonna make it walking.
Well, that's right. Go for Everett, but the old tactician's got a plan. For the transportation, that is.
You
I don't
stole
know how
from
I'm gonna
my
keep
kid.
fur in order.
How's this a plan? How we gonna get a car?
All right, we get it. So they need to get a car, they need to keep moving, and they need to push through, right? He stole a watch from Cousin Wash before he knew that he was going to betray them, because he's a dick. Like, he's kind of a bad person, you know?
He's a criminal.
He's got his motives, you know? What do you say? He was in jail originally for practicing law without a license?
Yes. Yeah. And then he wants to be a dentist and have someone make up a license for him.
He knows somebody who can print up a license. All right. We are just shy of our first break here. So what we need to do is we need to play a little game that we play with all of our guests before we hit the break. And that, of course, has a theme song. And that theme song goes like this.
Chop this synopsis. Chop this synopsis. Chop this synopsis.
All right. We're about to play Chop This Synopsis, where we ask you, the guest, Will, if you will take this movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and chop the synopsis down to 10 words or less. So describe this movie in 10 words or less. You'll have the break to figure it out. But basically what we're looking for is whatever would go on the back of a DVD, or if you're trying to scroll through and click on something, just something to catch your eye. 10 words or less. Again, going to go ahead and recommend maybe don't use the title of the film, because there goes half your words right there. You know.
Yes, right.
So, So you'll have the break to figure that out, though. And when we come back from that, we will get your 10-word or less synopsis of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And in the meantime, we will be right back after these messages.
Hey, I'm Mike Logan.
I'm Garrett Elzinga.
And this better be good. You know what it is. It's the weekly podcast where Garrett and myself, two professional comedians, review a movie before seeing it and review it again after seeing it. And this is an ad for our podcast.
Yeah, it's true.
You can find our podcast on all podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. It's
Stitcher.
everywhere. Except for SoundCloud, because fuck SoundCloud.
That's what we used to use, and now we use Anchor. Anchor's fantastic. You guys should check it out.
It's true. If you like movies and you like funny anecdotes, and we also talk about movie news, and we've got witty, great banter, download our podcast now. If you're listening to this podcast, odds are pretty good you'll like our podcast.
It's true. We're incredibly funny, incredibly witty. I love Mike a whole lot. I don't know if he loves me as much as I love him.
So yeah, download our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks.
Hey, I'm Mike Logan.
I'm Garrett Elzinga.
And that was an ad.
Oh, okay. Well, that was clever.
Yeah, well.
Jamie, I need you to keep the dogs quiet. I'm recording a commercial for the Elemental podcast, so can you keep them quiet during this recording of my commercial for the Elemental podcast? I mean, I know the dogs bark a whole lot when we actually record the podcast on Mondays and Thursdays and during the Patreon on Saturdays. But during the commercial, we need the recording to be dog bark free. Can you do that for me, Jamie? Can you keep the dogs quiet during the recording of this commercial for the Elemental podcast that people can listen to every Monday and Thursday and the Patreon on Saturday? Can you do that for me, Jamie? Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate it.
Chop this synopsis.
And we're back. All right. It is time for the rousing conclusion of Chop This Synopsis. So, Will, if you could please regale us with your 10-word or less synopsis of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Okay. 3 prisoners try to find money. Kidding. Wife. Then flood. There. That's my 10.
There you go.
Like it.
Used every goddamn last one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't leave anything on the table. Yeah.
You don't waste anything during quarantine.
That's right. That's right.
All right. There are a couple of things that I did want to touch on this. So you said at one point somebody mentioned that they stop and pick up Tommy, right? Tommy Johnson.
Yes.
Yep. So that plot point is the plot of the movie The Crossroads that I want us to do later.
Yes, because it's based on the real person that is the Blues. Is that what The Crossroads is based on?
Yeah. Yep. Fuck. I forget
it's the same name, Tommy Johnson. Well, actually, Tommy Johnson is the real name of the person.
Okay.
The other person that is historically put in as the person
Robert Johnson, right?
Well, no, it's actually Tommy Johnson.
Okay.
It was I did read they have it down as Robert Johnson, and it's Robert. I don't think it's Robert Johnson. It's Robert something else.
Okay.
He is a completely different person.
Huh.
And he got the credit for being the person that sold his soul.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the prodigious, blues person.
Sure. Yeah. I think Clapton did a cover record of all of Robert Johnson hits that I own.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, and really they said, in what I read is that Tommy's the real name. I don't know. Maybe they're just saying it for the movie. Oh no, this is actually historically correct. But, there are people that invent shit and then other people steal it. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Like Eric Clapton covering Robert Johnson's.
But now that I
music.
know this, I do want to watch The Crossroads now. So
yeah, dude, it's great. It's so good. Ralph Macchio. It's awesome. It's good times.
Oh, not the Britney Spears movie?
No.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going with that one.
Yeah, I just like to feel like I'm smarter than everyone and put extra meaning into things like, The Crossroads with Britney Spears. Yeah.
I'm super pissed. Yeah. I'm super pissed because I had all that information in my notes about the real name of the person, and I was like, we're not going to want to talk about that. And I have so many fun facts, so I deleted all that stuff. And I'm like, shit. Man. Now I'm like, I wish I would have kept it in.
No, yeah.
So Anyway, I did want to talk about the Ku Klux Klan scene.
Okay.
Because all I could think
Do you
about.
guys know, was that accurate at all? Like,
I do not know.
Okay, good.
Not how they do that
Yeah,
at all.
right.
No,
I mean, that's
totally
not how we do
wrong.
it, but you know.
Right. Okay, so the whole time that I'm watching this whole thing, I'm like, this has to be super fucking awkward for.
Yeah.
And I was like, this. And Mark and I, my husband, he was in the Western marching band, and I'm like, this has to be a marching band like that's doing this.
Yeah.
And well, it actually was a military formation group, but a majority of the people involved were African American.
Okay.
It's so underneath their hoods, and Joel Cohen was like overheard a lot of them talking like, this is so freaky. This is like, you know, and I just can't even imagine being like a Black person being in the middle of all this stuff and like seeing what's going on and not having like, you know, that's like some trauma. That stuff really
I mean, I suppose the paycheck probably helped, but you know, I mean.
Yeah.
You can't
I
be
mean,
in a Coen Brothers film. I suppose.
I'm sure that there were 350 of them, so
Yeah.
I'm sure that they didn't get a huge chunk of money.
Sure.
But yeah, it was an experience. But whatever. I thought that was something interesting because when I was watching it, I was like, this would be really hard, like to be around all these people and all these hoods. So
There's something I find. I mean, even as someone who on paper would be welcomed readily with those fellas. I think I don't know. I have a memory, and I don't know what movie or show it was, but I have a memory of seeing like a movie or show where there was a Ku Klux Klan, you know, kidnapping people and lynching them scene in it that I saw at a young point in my life. I want to say maybe like Queen, that sequel to Roots.
Okay.
There was. I want to say like I saw that or something, and it shook me quite a bit. So like that hooded. Ugh. That really gives me the willies.
I know.
For sure.
Like I have goosebumps right now. Like just the fact that we're talking about it, I can't even imagine being an African American person. I have a person that I work with. She is biracial. She went to go look at a house, and the realtor took them into the garage, and the person had like a full on like I almost said Gran Torino. I don't know what the hell they're called, like the Grand Master or whatever, like outfit. Like,
well, I mean, it's pretty close to the same thing, right? I mean, Clint Eastwood's been known to lean a certain way. So,
but it was like the Grand Master outfit and like all this like stuff that, and the realtor was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And the person I work with was like, "I'm not living here. Like, there's just bad juju." Like, so yeah. Anyway,
I just finished The Plot Against America. I don't know if you've seen that. It's an HBO show.
Well, maybe that was a manifesto you were writing.
No. It's based on a book. It's I don't know if I can do a 10. I'm gonna chop the synopsis, but it's basically it's an alternate history where Lindbergh beats Roosevelt.
Okay.
Right before World War II, and he's like a Nazi sympathizer. And there's a scene in it, and it's just like these Jews, they happen to be in Kentucky actually, and you know, they're going through this little town, and a dude in a Klan robe like comes and just kind of stands in front of their car for a second. And it's just just that visual, just like a dude in a hood at night. It's just
and the things it's terrifying. It's like the idea of the things that they did just to hurt people.
Yeah,
it's just so stupid that it's part of like the political race too in this movie. This movie's all kind of veiled around like this B story of a political race that's happening. Hey, that makes sense too. Like look at where we are now. You know what I mean?
I thought the same thing. I was like, how different are these people from the people that were in Lansing, like protesting?
Right. Yeah.
Which props to SNL, by the way, for their portrayal of Gretchen Whitmer. It was amazing.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
All right. I'm going to hit a few more of these clips here just because it's fun to listen to these people talk. So we're going to get, who's the guy at the radio station, the blind guy? What's his name in real life? I forget.
I don't know. There's something wrong with
Stephen
his
Root. Yes, Stephen Root. Yeah. Here we go. I think he's in this clip also.
No, I'm looking for some old timey material. You see, people can't seem to get enough of it. Since we started broadcasting it on the Papio down on Flower.
He might be my favorite character.
top of my head.
Just such a weirdo and quirky and
Yeah, it's super racist though.
yeah.
Heck, we're silly with it, ain't we, boys?
That's right. That's right. We ain't really Negroes.
Oh, except our companies.
Companies. I figured we had to have this song represented at least for a little bit there. So yeah.
So amazing. That was originally done in 1913. The song.
Okay.
It was by a blind person named Richard Burnett. They call him Blind Richard Burnett. So I'm assuming he's blind.
He's like, I'm also a musician.
Yeah. If not, it's just it's like stolen valor for a blues musician.
Right.
I know, right?
He's not really blind.
That it's just like what Everett would have done. I'm not really blind, but yeah.
Yep.
Also too, like one of the things I noticed is when the cow gets run over, I was like, oh my God, they really hit a cow. Like, and I thought it was super real. And I'm like, oh, PETA must have been all over the shit. So I was super happy when I did the research that the cow is CGI and it's actually the same image from Lake Placid when the alligator comes up and bites the cow.
That's great.
So I was like, but it looks so real, and they almost land on that chicken they're chasing, and I'm like, that guy had to physically not fall on top of that chicken. Yep. So yeah, there was definitely some
thought. When they hit that cow, I was like, oh boy.
I know.
It's rough.
They didn't need to show that. Jeez, I get it.
And I mean, to me today watching it, I was like, that looks a little campy. You know what I mean? Like you can tell
does, but
at the time, in 2000, I was probably pretty impressed by what I was seeing.
That's true. This is also right around the time of Twister, where cows were flying through the air.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cow violence during this time.
Yeah, before the before the cows all joined together and decided not to, do that stuff in movies anymore.
Well, I watched this in 2020, and I seriously thought they hit a cow, so I was glad. I was glad to know that was not the case.
Nice. I want to do this little bit of dialogue here when they get back in the car after the baptism.
Oh, yes.
It couldn't have hurt none. Hell, at least it would have washed away the stink of that pomade.
Going you two ignorant fools and ridiculous superstition, thank you anyway. And I like the smell of my hair treatment. The pleasing odor's half the point.
It's true.
So I'm glad you brought that back up.
Hold on.
Oh,
you two are just dumber than a bag of hammers.
I just needed that.
Well, I guess you just might cross the bear.
Over. Dumber than a bag of hammers.
Oh, for sure.
One of the questions I have is do you guys have any kind of brand that you are 100% loyal to? Like you will not go out of that brand for a specific item. Or if you do have to, it's a huge sacrifice.
I mean, when I was drinking soda, when I was drinking pop, I would drink Mountain Dew specifically. Like if they didn't have, or if it was Coke or Pepsi type, I was definitely a Coke drinker. I was Diet Coke for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything that's really brand loyal anymore. I feel like that's kind of a thing of the past, I think now it's become more of the value of things.
Oh man, right now I'm for sure. I go in the store and I'm like, cheapest eggs.
Yeah.
Cheapest everything. I'm buying. I'm not. This is not too long ago, but I recently started getting Duke's brand mayonnaise.
Okay.
Which I happen to just find just randomly. It has it just has a kind of not an old timey, but just a nice logo to it.
Okay.
And then
so it's purely visual.
Yeah, it's gold. It's gold and then a dark blue, almost black kind of script.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was watching an interview with Bill Murray talking about John Prine.
Okay.
And he referenced I was just sitting there. Yeah, R.I.P. John Prine.
Yeah.
He just referenced I was sitting there eating a sandwich, a little Duke's mayo. And then someone's like, "Oh shit! Well, I'm a Duke's man now."
Yeah.
I'm a Duke's mayo man.
Fully endorsed by John Prine.
That's awesome. Well, I am strictly, even though my skin is horrible, I blame my child and my lack of sleep and stress from quarantine. But I will only use a specific face lotion, like an oil of Olay, with the SPF 15, face lotion. And I ran out of it. So then I had to order it on Amazon, and Amazon had literally quadrupled the price of it.
Nice.
And I was like, I don't even care. So I ordered 3 jars of it. And then my kid, one day, scooped a bunch of it out, and she was putting it on sunscreen, but she didn't rub any of it in.
Yeah.
She looked, it was white face,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was freaking out. I'm like, that is so I was like rubbing my face on her face. Like, no. Like, what did you just do?
You just get her a jar of Duke's mayonnaise, you know, let her go. Serves the same function.
Speaking of faces, Cremo shaving cream.
Okay.
I've been doing that for quite a while.
I feel like this is a practice for us for getting sponsorship. Like that's what
there
we're
you
doing
go.
right now.
I also suckered me in because of a good label. I love a good.
There you go.
I love a good classic label,
very
but it's really good.
visual.
You only need a little bit.
That is how my face lotion is.
So it'll last forever. And then Mountaineer brand beard oil, and that's
okay.
I don't know.
Okay. What about
Yeah, I got this nonsense going since the quarantine thing, and it's just completely unkempt, and I don't do anything with it or to it or anything, and I really have to make a decision at this point. It's gotten to the point where I need to either make a decision to do something about it or just kind of let it happen, And I
become a soggy bottom boy.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm at right now, but we'll see.
I'd run some oil through it, man. It feels nice. It really
All
does.
right.
And honestly, the scent is half the point.
That is true. Back to the movie. All right.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
You want to do ages
let's
or
do,
something?
or we can do box office.
Okay, let's do box office. We have a little theme song for that too, provided by the one and only podcaster / comedian Stu McAllister. This one was recorded live right on the show while he was guest hosting, and we get this gem from him. Box office theme song. That's it, man. Short and sweet. Box office theme song. Here we go.
All right. So, how much do you guys think that in 2000 it cost to make this movie? What was the budget?
I'm gonna let.
I'm really bad at this. I'm gonna say I really have no. I'm always like, I don't know, $20. No.
Do you want me to try first? Because I don't know either.
I'm gonna say $20 million.
Okay,
that's a respectable.
Is that reasonable?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Right.
I'm
gonna
say
that or $20. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna say it was probably just because of the size of the cast and the. I don't know. I guess they do seem like they're kind of scrappy though. Like they can put some shit together for pretty little. But I'm gonna say it was probably pushing like 25-30 million.
Okay, it was actually 26 million.
Okay.
So neither of you guys were like bad. We're actually yeah, it was good. Yeah, both of you did well. Okay, so it cost 26 million to make. How much do you think that it has made worldwide gross up until this point?
Was it a hit?
I feel again still bad. 100 million.
Okay.
Crazy.
No, not at all. And in fact, I'm pretty confident that it's more than that. Even this is like widely listed among the top like 5 movies of the Coen brothers at all, and it just seems like it's with its cult following and its like commercial success with the soundtrack. Again, it was just everywhere. I think
that's true. Yeah, if you count soundtrack.
See, I don't know if the revenue from the soundtrack counts.
You're not. You're not going to count the soundtrack and the revenue for the movie
because just the notability, like just its relevance in the world at the time. I think people watched this movie just because they were hearing it on the radio. And
hey, Matt, just give me a fucking
number.
Give me
the fucking number. I don't know. I'm going to say like 170, 180, something like that.
Okay, 72 million.
Oh no! All right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It did not even make break $1 million in its first week.
Okay.
Which was, I think it was actually less than $500,000 in its first week.
Yikes.
It made like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I wonder if it what its competition was at the time. Like I wonder what it was going up against.
In 2000, it's hard to say. I mean,
those
years those were like Fast and Furious years, you know?
Right. Yeah. It was like post what's the American Pie era, so it was probably just a bunch probably some weird like gross teen movie or some shit that was happening.
Yeah, and that made like $100 million in opening weekend.
Right.
Yeah,
and it cost them $38 to make, like some weird
but
frat
the
brothers
soundtrack though the soundtrack actually like boosted the film, and so once people started like getting into that, they were like, oh, we have to see this movie.
I imagine like it's rentals and shit probably boosted pretty quick, and then like the whole syndication stuff, people were probably clamoring to get that on their station, you know, like you were saying, you saw it on like TBS probably or whatever, and it just runs in cycles.
A lot of that money, yeah.
Well, and it's like hipsters liked this before there were hipsters.
For
you
sure.
know, at least that's what I felt.
Yeah, it's like the steampunk version of a movie or something like it's, it's just visually different. Look, it's brown. Everything's brown.
That's just because people were dirty back then.
Right?
That's true. Yeah, even the lens was dirty.
You guys want to? We'll get a little clip here in between this. This is Tommy talking about the devil.
How you doing, son? Name's Everett. These two soggy sons of bitches are Pete and Delmer. Keep your fingers away from Pete's mouth. He ain't had nothing to eat for 13 years except prison food, gopher, and a little greasy horse.
Thanks for the lift, sir. My name's Tommy. Tommy Johnson.
How you doing, Tommy? Say, I haven't seen a house out here for miles. Always wondered.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What year did Crossroads come out?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. It's got to be like 85, 86, maybe even
So
earlier.
was the person this was originally based on, were they black?
Yeah.
And then Ralph Macchio's not black.
No. He was basically okay, so the premise of that film, which I don't know why we're talking about now, but
Sorry.
Robert Johnson had recorded an album with like 12 songs or 11 songs on it, right? And there was this big theory that there was this 12th or 13th or whatever song, like there was this one last song that never got recorded, and his album had been like widely renowned as like the best blues album of all time. But if you could find this last song and record it yourself, you would become like instantly famous and awesome or whatever. And Ralph Macchio went to Juilliard for music, and he was learning classical guitar music, but he didn't love that. Like, he wasn't into classical guitar. He wanted to do blues music. And so he goes to the Crossroads to find, it follows the story, whatever. It's
my gosh, I want to see this so bad. Okay, I was just making sure that they didn't.
Actually, yeah.
I know. I just want to make sure that they didn't take some like black person's success and
No.
Okay, no, that's awesome.
But yeah, no, it's good. I think we should definitely cover that. Yeah.
So just so you know, because they portray like Babyface Nelson as like one of the characters. The actual historical Babyface Nelson, his actual name was Lester M. Gillis. Okay. He was known for his hot temper, twitchy trigger finger, but he was shot to death like years before this movie was supposed to be being filmed.
Sad. Okay.
So like, just so you guys know, Babyface Nelson was not named George, and he wasn't all like the way that they portrayed him necessarily.
Thank you, folks. And remember, Jesus saves, but George Nelson withdraws. Don't fix the order by turn. Who said that?
This poor woman has no teeth. Where do they find these actors?
No doubt.
A folder. They got that folder.
Son of a bitch said that.
It's like a Rolodex of just weirdos. Yeah.
My name is George Nelson.
I bet she could make a really good biscuit, though. I feel like she was probably.
For sure.
Is she under toothless, short, or chubby?
Yeah.
Babyface.
The trifecta.
You remember?
Yeah, but like if she was like fixing up some a meal or whatever, like she doesn't cook things, she just fixes it up. That's how they do it down there. But yeah, I'd be down for it. I can tell right now. But all right, do we want to skip over to the next
Ages?
theme?
Yeah,
let's do that. We have a little theme song for that as well. I feel like I should just stop it there from now on.
Yeah, you probably should, even though that's horrible.
That's true. There's a theme, guys. Get it? Huh? Talk about ages. Should have stopped it there. Didn't.
Will you still need me? Still feed me when
I think we're allowed to play all of this. I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna get sued.
Nick Lydorf convinced us that it was okay, so
we're gonna get sued.
No, we're fine. Okay, so now this game is called How Old Are They? I guess we don't really have an official name.
We don't really have a name.
So in the year 2000, when this was made,
yes,
Mandy, take it away.
Okay, I'm going to start out with an obscure one. How old do you think John Goodman was? Which, by the way, crazy cameo, John Goodman. I totally forgot he was in this.
Again, we just had him in Dirty Work, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Crazy.
So, so how old do you think John Goodman was in 2000 when he played Big Dan Teague? Which I forgot that he beat the shit out of them, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I completely...
Tree trunk to the face. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. When the way Everett just sits there going like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Like that's
What's going on, Dan?
What's going on there? Yeah.
Oh,
hold on.
speaking of,
Now that we're doing that, we just might as well listen to that clip. Hold on.
yeah.
Do it.
I don't believe I've seen you boys around here before. Allow me to introduce myself. Name of Daniel Teague, known in these precincts as Big Dan Teague. Or to those who are pressed for time, Big Dan, Toot Court.
How you doing, Big Dan? My name is Ulysses Everett McGill. It's my associate, Delmer McDonald. Like me, you're endowed with the gift of gab.
I flatter myself that such is the case. In my line of work, it's plumb necessary. The one thing you don't want is air in the conversation.
Once again, we find ourselves in agreement. What kind of work you do, Big Dan?
Sales, Mr. McGill, sales. And what do I sell? The truth, every blessed word of it, from Genesis on down to Revelations. That's right.
He's a goddamn Bible salesman.
Yeah.
Look at him go.
Oh, so crazy. Okay, so
Yeah,
how old do you think he was?
20 years ago.
Yep.
Man, I'm gonna say 46.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I am going to say, God, I don't. Yeah, it's just hard to think of how old he must be now. Like that's just
I know.
crazy to think about. But yeah, it's got to be right around that area. So I'm just gonna say he was 40.
48.
Oh wow. Okay.
I know.
So he's
right?
currently 68 years old. Holy crap.
He's so old.
Yeah, he lost a shitload of weight though. He really dropped some pounds. So
Yeah. Okay, we'll just pray for his safety during COVID.
Yeah.
All right. Because he's old.
Yeah, right.
No, I was doing Janet Jackson.
Yeah, you were striking poses for sure. This is Madonna.
How old do you think George Clooney was?
I'm gonna say 39.
Okay.
I'll say 35.
39.
Hey, big winner. Look at that. Ding ding.
How old do you think John I knew I was going to have a hard time with this. Turturro, who played Pete, was?
They loved him up and turned him into a horny toad.
I always think of, let me touch your feet. Would you like me to change your socks? From
Mr. Deeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 41.
Okay.
I'm gonna say he was just a rough looking 34.
Yeah, that might be high. It might be high.
No, 43.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
You're good at this.
There you go.
I guess so. I can't do budgets, but I can do ages.
Yeah, you got a future job at the carnival lined up, man. Start guessing people's weight. You're going places.
Okay, how old do you think Tim Blake Nelson was? He played Delmar.
I haven't seen him lately. I don't know. I'm gonna say 37.
I'm gonna go 40.
Okay, he was 36.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, he just looked like a rough 36. Like, I'm pretty sure they didn't put any makeup on them whatsoever.
Right. Well, they put him in blackface essentially at one point.
Yeah.
So.
Seriously, I know.
Yeah, they were just trying to hide in the woods. So
I agree. Yeah, and like I'm sorry, but yeah, okay, I can't even get into that. All right, the last one I have is Holly Hunter. How old do you think she was?
That ain't your daddy, Alvinell. Your daddy was hit by a train.
Penny, you stop that.
No, you stop it. Vernon here's got a job. Vernon's got prospects.
He's bona fide.
What are you?
I'll tell you what I am. I'm the
Paterfamilias.
And you can't marry him.
Can I am, and I will. Tomorrow.
I thought she was great in
I'm
this.
gonna think about the
I was behind
They
her
look to me
performance
for
in
answers.
this.
She's awesome.
Support him and buy him lessons on the clarinet. The only good thing you ever did for the gals was to get hit by that train.
Well, you lying. Unconstant.
I love old Vernon comes in here with his crazy dukes showing.
My fiance.
Got the.
I loved this part. I laughed out loud. So huge.
You can't swear at my fiance.
I loved both of them when they're just like I just loved it so much. Sorry for the listeners, you didn't get a chance to see my amazing fighting stances, but
Right, yeah, for sure. Your visual impression of George Clooney fighting.
Just knuckle first.
Well,
You gotta have the knuckles.
both of them.
Except wide open. Like he's going
George-
wide open
yes!
and just gets
Yeah,
punched
yeah.
square in the face
Oh.
multiple times. It's great.
So bad. I'm like,
How
you've been to
old-
prison.
You know what prison's famous for? All right. Shout out to
All right, how old was
previous episode. Sorry.
how old was Holly Hunter? Yes.
I want to say, first of all, this movie did make me say that I need to start using the word bona fide.
Yeah.
More, just the way they use it. It's so fun.
I'm bona fide. And you have to say it with a southern accent.
Yeah,
I'm bona fide.
Bona fide. I'm gonna say 39 at the time of this movie.
I'm gonna say 36.
She was 42.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Which is crazy. She looked, right?
Me.
Yes.
All right. What else? We got anybody else?
No, I mean there
Good.
were a bunch of other people. I'm sorry.
No, it's
there
fine.
there were a few more than normal, but they were like the main characters. So.
All right, folks, we have got to breeze through this next game. Okay.
Okay.
We're down to like 10 minutes left. So this next game has a theme song as well, and it goes like this.
I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound?
Do you hear what I hear?
What's that sound?
Do you hear what I hear?
What's that sound?
All right, it is time for us to play What's That Sound? This is where I take a sound from this movie and I play it to you. This is all the stakes, man. This is where it all comes down to. We've got 3 different sounds from this movie I'm going to play for you. Oh, wait. Looks like I've got 2 different sounds from this movie I'm going to play for you. So yeah, it's basically I just play a sound that happened. You tell me what's happening on screen at the time, okay? So here we go with the first sound. We're going to crank it up and see what happens. Okay, I can play it multiple times if you wish.
Yeah, can you play it again?
No, it's pretty subtle. So here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
oh my gosh.
This gets so much harder when it's over Zoom. If you guys were in the room here with this,
yeah,
it'd be spot on, no question. So, are you both having issues, Mandy? What do you think?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I don't even have like, okay, I'll talk it through a little bit. It sounds like her fiance, the voice of her fiance when he like gasps somehow.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
No, yep, it is not that.
Okay.
I'm just going to play it one more time clean.
Okay.
If you want to take a swing at it, go ahead. But otherwise, this is for the listeners to chime in on. If you guys want to guess this and you want to send us an email, you can do so at the email above my head over here. It's at anotherepisodepodcast@gmail.com, or just message us on Facebook if you've got a guess for what this sound is.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That was really loud.
That's okay.
It's when John Goodman squishes Pete the frog.
Yeah, the frog.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Squeezes the
Or the
frog
toad.
and throw the last sound is it bouncing
that
off
was
the
another
tree.
Scene. Yes. Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Poor cow and that poor frog.
Yeah, for sure.
I am sorry I screamed in everyone's ears.
Oh, that's fine. I think it's got a limiter. You're okay.
Okay.
And then okay, here's sound number 2.
That's got to be when he jumps on the train, right?
It's when they slide off the train, but yeah, it's close enough. Close enough. I was like,
So
that means
great.
I left in just a bunch of weird noise, extra stuff. I was like, come on, like these got to be at least somewhat gettable over Zoom. But
yeah.
There you go. Yeah, so that's just the 3 of them being drug off into the weeds.
Yeah, great.
Right, and that's I guess the end. I thought I did some sounds, but I guess I didn't. So there we go.
That's okay.
That's the end of What's That Sound.
So Will, do you think you're ever going to watch this again?
I think I definitely will. I think this went from like a movie that I kind of cursorily knew about, to a movie that I'll slide right in the old great movies that I enjoy list. I think partly, I mean, like I said, because of that I've kind of grown back to country music over the last handful of years. And also I think coming off of having seen the Ken Burns documentary, not that long ago.
Sure.
I think that to really like it's set right in that world, of early country radio.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to my
really enjoyed
daughter
that.
like people used to do that, like used to gather around the radio like we do
Yeah.
with TV, you know?
And on the other end, too, I never really thought about that, but like, you know, how like the Carter family got hired by a radio station and then they lived there and they would play on the radio every day. Like they weren't playing records at first. They had bands come in.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, and that's exactly the three girls, like his girls that are singing, you know, originally. Yeah, that was originally the Carter family, like singing that exact song. And then June married Johnny Cash. And yeah, it's like, it's all intertwined. This movie did a really good job, I feel like, of like basically being historically accurate while at the same time being like a spoof on history, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously,
play around with it a little bit, take a little creative license with things.
There's no fucking way that the Ku Klux Klan is as like, they aren't like a marching band, like in a formation. Yeah.
I don't know, a lot more beer.
Yeah.
I watched a interview with what was the Warvey girls, the three daughters that were singing. They put out a casting call for 3 young female actresses who could sing that were like 8, 9, and 10. Like they wanted them to be kind of really similarly close in age, and they auditioned for this. They were like 5, 7, and 11 or something were the 3 girls that they ended up going with. And they had to like convince them. They're like, we can do it. You know, we can do 3-part harmony even at that age. Like, it's insane to me when like a child of like 5 years old can figure out what the hell their part is in a 3-part harmony and not just like stick to the melody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even when I was in choirs, I would have to strain to like not just stick to the melody that everyone wants, like the fun part, you know, that everyone wants to sing. And just the idea that happens in such a tiny little person is crazy.
Little person.
Yeah. It's good on them, man.
I think, Mandy, what you said, I think is why I like this movie, and also part of why I like country music, is that it's making it's making fun of these people and of this time, but it also clearly loves these people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I think is part of why I like country music, is because it's totally okay with making fun of itself.
Yes. And I am white trash. I have some serious white trash roots. I'm from Delton, you know, I have a crazy family. Like that, but like the simplicity of white trash people and country music, to me, I love it. And actually, I have to say, and I know that we're running out of time, but I do have to say that country music, like I've kind of gotten away from like other music at this point. I'm listening to a lot more country right now that I haven't listened to country in years. Like we talked about Joe. Anyways, it's okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to waste our time.
Well, I just was going to say, like, I feel like the Everett in a family full of the rest of this movie, though. And I think that's why it stuck with me. Like, I felt like I was like I just always felt like I was the smart one. You know what I mean?
You were. You were the diamond in the rough, for sure.
And I think that's why this movie struck with me so much as it did. And I was like, all right, I could get behind this and watch it again. We are super late for time here. So
we'll do some plugs if you have any.
Plug away, man. Anything you want people to go to or see?
No shows coming up for the foreseeable future.
Sure.
Possibly. You can see me at the Downfall of Society that may be pending.
Yep.
That's about it. Bangos.
Okay.
If you want to come to,
talk about that.
Well, if you want to find us, look us up. Facebook, Bangos, or Instagram at Bangos. And yeah, we're just a breakfast sandwich centered food truck. That's actually why I was
still keeping it going.
I came here right from that. Got home, showered up, came here. We had a great day.
What kind of food do you serve?
Breakfast sandwiches is kind of our focus.
Okay.
So like really.
So it's a morning kind of thing mostly.
Yeah, morning and lunch. We do lunch too.
There you go. And where do you guys primarily run that out of? Do you guys move around quite a bit, or do you have your own little area that you pick?
Just like we have like a few spots around Lansing.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, go check them out, man. They're great. I've seen photos of people I know enjoying them, so I take their word for it.
Yeah,
I trust them. So yeah, nice job.
So go on and protest, bring your AK, and then go get
stop by.
some bangos.
We park by the Capitol quite a bit, so there you go.
All right. Yeah, and as far as the podcast goes, make sure you check us out on Instagram at Another Episode Podcast. That's where we post all of the posters that we make. We take the original poster for the movies and we doctor them up a bit. And Will, you're going to be featured in the one for Our Brother Where Art Thou, so that's going to be pretty exciting. We post those on Sundays for the following week. So if you want to know what we're about to talk about on the upcoming Wednesday, check us on Sunday. You can get a little heads up. You can watch the movie ahead of time, and that way you can join us along for the conversation. So otherwise, you can keep track of all of that stuff on Facebook for us as well. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Mandy, would you watch this movie again?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Even though I didn't like it as much, I still really enjoyed it, and I want to listen to the soundtrack now
For
over
sure.
and over again.
All right,
And
we
relive
always
my
end-
youth.
We always end these things by playing a clip because we don't really know how to end it otherwise. So that clip is this.
Well, ain't you gonna press the flesh, Pappy? Do a little politicking? I'll press your flesh, you with son bitch. You don't tell your Pappy how to cut the electorate. We ain't one at a time in here. We're mass communicating.
That's true. We're mass communicating out here.
That's a great.
Like the first Trump.
Thank
He
you
was
guys so
like-
much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Will, for coming back on. And
For sure.
be safe out
Thank
there, guys.
you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.